Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to POD. It's Plenty O Disney. I have a trip to Disneyland coming up in a couple of days on Wednesday, and I decided to put together a list of like what I need to do, what are must-dos, good to do, and some like I'm absolutely not gonna do as far as rides to ride, and maybe some foods to eat. And yeah, I figured this would be pretty cool. Not really in list format where I'm going to go through and go into detail about every bullet point on this list, but I will just list it off, and if there are some caveats to some, I'll just add them. But I do have my trusty iPad right here, and I guess I'll just go through. So again, I'll be heading to Disneyland this Wednesday, March 2nd. I have a park hopper I purchased for me and my girlfriend, and then we're going to upgrade those to Magic Keys, and then I'll go more often and be able to post more content. So this week, hopefully I'll have two videos, this one and my top 5 on Friday, which right now, tentatively, is going to be my top 5, I think, Pixar movies. But let's just go through my list right here and see what I have. All right. So, a little backstory. I have been going to Disneyland almost 30 years, maybe 27 years. So, you may be like, oh, why is this not on your must-do list? I've ridden these rides so many times that my must-do list is probably different than yours. Not saying you haven't rode them a million times too, but it's just a little bit different. So, if you want, in the comments below, just let me know what your must rides are. Let me know what rides you just absolutely don't want to go on, what food you like, etc. So let me just get into the list right now. All right, I guess I'll start with my must-dos. So let's go down this list real fast. They're in no particular order either. So if I list it first, it doesn't mean it's like the number one, even though on this list it is, but after this, it's not in any order. So my number one must-do when I go on Tuesday is Rise of the Resistance. So I have only gone to Disneyland twice since COVID. I went last year to Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, and I remember back then you had to go on your phone to like book the reservation or get in line, and it was like the only day that week that Rise of the Resistance was down, and I didn't get to go. Then I went for the Oogie Boogie Bash, but that was California Adventure. So obviously I didn't go to Disneyland. So I have not yet been able to ride Rise of the Resistance. So I'm really looking forward to this ride because I have not heard anyone say anything bad about this. Even people I know that aren't big on Disneyland who go say this ride is amazing. So I cannot wait to get online and wait for Rise of the Resistance. Number 2 is the Spider-Man Web Slingers in DCA. Again, I went to DCA at that same point when I went to Disneyland, I think last May. And Rise was down, but Spider-Man, was it down too? It might have been down. I think they both might have been down that day, but I didn't get to ride it. And then when I went to Oogie Boogie Bash, the line was, I think, an hour and a half, and we had a dinner reservation. So we just said next time. So Spider-Man Web Slingers is a must-do. Number 3, classic Matterhorn bobsled. I always like to ride the Matterhorn. In one of my other videos, I went like a trip down memory lane where I remember how you had to like lap sit on the Matterhorn. I don't know, they've never really perfected the car in the Matterhorn, but Matterhorn is a must-do. Another one, Haunted Mansion, probably on everybody's list. I prefer the Nightmare Before Christmas version of Haunted Mansion, but I still like the classic one as well, so I definitely have to get on Haunted Mansion. Indiana Jones is another one. Indiana Jones last May, I believe, was also a EQ where you had to go in the app, and I think it said you had to be in the park to be able to get on the ride, like to get in the line. But since you had to walk, by the time I got to the gate, it was already like sold out or whatever, so I couldn't get on that. So hopefully I could get on Indiana Jones this week. Next one, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean. It's probably one of my favorite rides. I don't even think it made my list. There's so many rides that when I made that list that day, I just don't think it made it. It seems like day to day my list changes, but Pirates I like because it's a really enjoyable ride and you see a lot of things, and it's about 14 minutes long. So Pirates is definitely a must. My next one usually isn't a must, but I haven't been on it in so long that I do want to go on the Jungle Cruise again. The one thing I wish about the Jungle Cruise is I wish they let the skippers kind of be able to freestyle the entire ride. I know there's some points where they could say whatever they want, but they all say the same thing, you know, backside of water and all of that. And it's gets kind of stale, because I know they're probably a lot funnier than what Disney allows them to be, but Jungle Cruise is on my list. Fantasyland rides are on my list, all of them in general, but I'm only going to pick two, so my list isn't ridiculous. Peter Pan is a must, because I haven't gotten on the new version very often, maybe once or twice, and I really like it. And Alice in Wonderland is another one. I always like getting on the Alice in Wonderland ride. Next is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. You know, there's really no need to go more in depth. It's one of the best roller coasters in the park, and I actually really love that redesign at the end, and I just love everything about it. Like I said in another video, when you're on Big Thunder Mountain, it just moves so, not fast, but quickly, I guess, that you just feel like you're really on that mountain and you're not really paying attention to Disneyland. It's just like, that's all you see. What's next? Small World. I usually cap my trips to Disneyland with Small World. If I'm over there in the morning and the line is pretty short, then, you know, I'll ride it. But for the most part, Small World usually is a long line, so I'll check it out at the end of the day, or I'll go over when there's a parade. A lot of the kids like to see the parades, and then I'll go to Small World after. But Small World is a must-do. Little Mermaid is a must-do in DCA. This is a great ride. It's one of my girlfriend's favorite rides, but I just saw that I think it's down for refurbishment. So it looks like Little Mermaid will not be ridden this week. Hopefully it's open, but I don't think it's going to be. And then my last must-do is actually a new addition. Like I said, I've been going to the park since like 1995, and my oldest brother kind of introduced me to Disneyland. My brother loves riding the railroad. I hate riding it. He always wants to ride it around the park. I never want to do it. He wants to travel from like land to land on the railroad. I never want to do it. I just want to walk. But now I'm like, you know what? I've seen so many people on Twitter posting about it, that they have so much fun doing it, that now it's a must-do. When I go there on Wednesday, hopefully we could ride the Disneyland Railroad all the way around the park. So those right there are my must-dos. My nice-to-do list is maybe just as big, but here we go. My nice-to-do, but not must-do list. Autopia. Autopia is a relaxing ride to me. It's just, the smell is so bad that it gives me a headache, that it's like when you're thinking about, like when you're walking there and you're thinking about, oh, let's go to Autopia, it's like a good idea, but when you get there and you smell it, it's just like, I'm gonna have a headache for the rest of the day. So, well, it's a nice to do. If there's no line, maybe I'll do it, but I always get a headache. Number 2 is Dumbo. This one I enjoy riding, but I am not a fan of like spinning rides that just go around in circles. So as much as I love it, it just depends on the day. That's why it's not a must-do. It makes me dizzy. Number 3, Splash Mountain usually is a must-do. But since I'm not going in July and there's no guarantee it's going to be like 90 or 100, and there's no guarantee it's going to be open. I heard it might be under refurbishment as well. That's why Splash Mountain is on nice to do. If it's open and it's hot, I'll do it. The same with Grizzly Peak. I think that's being refurbed right now as well, but if it's open and it's hot, I'll ride it. Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters is a nice to do, or might do. It's a fun ride, but it's not something that I'm like, I need to do it. If we're in Cars Land and the line's not that long, yeah, we'll hop on it. But I should do it for the culture, seeing as I'm Italian and Luigi is an Italian car. So maybe I will support Luigi. The next one is Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is usually a must-do, but sometimes the line is pretty long on that. And I mean, seeing as I haven't been there in almost a year, there are a lot more important rides that I do want to get on. And, you know, if there's time, I'll get on Winnie the Pooh. I got on that last year. The bad thing about last year, my plan was to ride Winnie the Pooh, get off, and go into Pooh Corner to buy some treats, and Pooh Corner was closed. So that sucked. What else do we have? Toy Story Midway Mania is a nice to do, only because, again, that's another one where the lines are crazy, and there are some other rides that we'd rather do, and if we have time, we'll wait. And most of the time, that would be on my must-do list. Like, if I went there often, like a couple of times a month, then it would probably be on my must-do list. But since there's some rides that I haven't done in a while, it just bumped it to the nice to do. What else? The Astro Blasters, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. I've done that many times. It's fun. It's a really fun ride, but I never have like the urge to, we have to do this. So again, if there's time, I'll do it. If my girlfriend wants to do it, we'll do it, but it's not something that I'm particularly like fond of that I need to ride. Radiator Springs Racers. This is also a nice to do. It could be a must do, but again, this is probably the ride that has the longest line always. Every time I go, there's like an hour, 2 hour wait for this. I mean, we could probably do single rider and get on there pretty fast, but I don't know. Maybe, we have 2 days to decide. This is like undecided. It might bump up to must do, but for right now, the Radiator Springs Racers is on my nice to do. And then lastly is Sauron. Now, Sauron has always been a ride that I don't like, I don't hate. I just never understood it. I always walk by, I'm always like, why are there people waiting for this ride? It's kind of boring, but if my girlfriend wants to go on, I'll go on. But also I need to give a shout out to Grand Cal Stan on Twitter and Instagram. He loves this ride, and he goes on it all the time. And he hashtagged, I think, scoliosis, and I had no idea what that meant. But apparently when you're getting to the Eiffel Tower, it looks like it's bent, so now that's my excuse to go on it. So shout out to Grand Cal Stan, you're getting me back on Sauron. Okay, the won't do list is not because these rides aren't good for the most part. I'll just come out and say it. 3 won't do's. 1, the teacups. Can't go on it. It makes me sick. Literally makes me sick, even when you're not spinning the teacup around. I don't think ever in my life I'm going to go on this ride again, unless I lose a bet and I'm forced to. Number 2, Star Tours. Again, I've been on it so many times, and I do enjoy this ride, but for some reason it makes me super sick every time I go on it. I don't know what it is, because it's not like spinning or anything. I can't do it. And number 3 is the Finding Nemo Submarines. I don't know. I've been on it a couple of times, more than a couple of times, and I think it might be just the claustrophobia of just being in there with so many people packed in and you can't move. But I do not think I'm getting on that. Let's see. All right, so now I have a list of do on my own. So these are rides that I'm going to have to do on my own when I get my magic key, because as of now, my girlfriend doesn't want to ride these. 1, Space Mountain. That's why it's not on my must-do. So there's a few on here that you'll probably be like, oh, that's why it's not on your must-do list. Okay? So Space Mountain, Incredicoaster, Mission Breakout, Goofy Sky School, Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin, Smuggler's Run. These are all rides I'm going to have to do on my own because they make my girlfriend sick. We did go on Smuggler's Run together last year, and it made her sick, and she lost her ears. Her mini ears, not her real ears, obviously. So that's my list of must-dos, nice-to-dos, will not do, and rides that I'll ride on my own. And my last list is just must-eats. So I just have a few things on here that when I go, I really have to have at least one of all of these. Number one, corn dog at the Little Red Wagon. Last year we had to place an order in advance. I think you still have to do that now. Hopefully it's not a 3-hour wait like last year, but a corn dog is definitely on the list. A churro, always on the list. Like I said in another video, I always have to eat my first churro by the Matterhorn Bobsled churro stand. So make a beeline there if that's what I want to eat in the morning when I get there. Straight to the Matterhorn, buy a churro. The next one, and this is, I hope they have it because they don't have it at the shop in downtown Disney, is the S'more Square from Pooh's Corner. They used to sell them there and in downtown Disney, but I haven't seen them lately. So hopefully when I go to Pooh Corner, one, it's open, and two, they have the S'more Squares. Next one up, charcuterie. That was another thing. Every time I went to DCA, I would always get a charcuterie board, but I just looked on the map, and now that area, I think it says it's the Magic Key Terrace. So it sounds like they don't serve it anymore. Hopefully they just changed the name, but if it's a Magic Key Terrace, I won't be able to get there anyway because I won't have my Magic Key until after we leave when I upgrade. So I probably won't be able to do that. This was one on my list that literally today I found out that the Rose Tavern did not have poutine on their list today. That's another thing I usually always eat. I'd go to Red Rose and get poutine, but actually Grand Cal Stand today told me that it wasn't on the menu. So if it's not on the menu today, I highly doubt it's going to be on the menu tomorrow or Wednesday. And the last thing on my list for must consume because this isn't food, but a margarita from the DCA margarita stand. I can't wait to have one of those or two of those or three of those because honestly, I'm going to need it. It's going to be a lot of walking. Just take the edge off a little bit, down some of those, eat some food, have some snacks, ride some rides, have some fun. Hopefully I get to take a lot of pictures and post some on my Instagram and link them to Twitter. We'll see what happens, but that's my list of everything that I want to do, need to do, have to do, and might do. So let me know what you think in the comments below. What are some of the rides that you have to ride every time you go to Disneyland, no matter what? And then let me know what are some rides where it's like, if the wait is a little bit too long, I'm not going to wait. And you know, they're just maybes. And then let me know in the comments below what rides you absolutely refuse to ride. I'm pretty sure the Mad Hatter teacups are on a lot of people's lists. I don't like to give percentages, but I'll say more than 50%. That's my guess. But I hope you like the video, I hope you like my list, and I hope to see you in Disneyland and on Twitter. Talk to you later. Peace, guys.